Hi everybody, sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Igama lami Ntando Mdletshe, and on this channel sibuka ama reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese sizala sokhuluma ngawo lama shows. Siyaphinda ke futhi sikhuluma ngama celebrities kanye nama YouTubers ethu ala eMzansi. If it's your first time joining me today and you happen to like my content, do not forget to press the subscribe button la ngezansi kanye ne notification bell ukuze phela uthole umyalezo mangabe umsebenzi omusha sesihofakele. Today you guys, I'm going to do a full recap or a full review of this body works. For me, we are actually in episode 9. They just uploaded episode 9 and 10 is Zulu. But before I do episode 9, because I did not do the full review of episode 8, I'm just going to do a bit of a recap, like talking about scenes that are very important for us to understand that they took place before we actually move on to episode 9, you guys. And I'm really liking the show, you guys. I'm really liking how they're going deep into their personal relationships. And in episode 9 we get introduced to prima donna's mom. You guys, what a beautiful woman, a beautiful soul. I like her. Looking at prima donna, I was like, her mom must be young, because she talks as if she is the firstborn at home. And yeah, she's young. Untanga nje loana, guys, untanga yethu, you know. But yes, I like that. I like ukuthi she was introduced, but we're going to talk about that when we start talking about episode 9, you guys. So I really like when they get into introducing personal relationships when it comes to these girls, you guys, because as much as they do the job that they do, the things that we can relate to is just when they do normal things, which is dealing with their families, dealing with their friendships and all of that, you guys. So in episode 8, one of the things that was important that took place was that a scene between Gina and Ivy, you guys. Gina obviously has some accommodation issues, okay, because remember they got fired from the club. And I did in one video ask a question of, I wonder if she was living at the club, because how come when you're losing your job you're also losing the place where you stay? And in that video where I asked that question, she actually commented, you guys, and unless it's a fake account but it's the same name as her real name, Gina, she actually commented on one of my videos and she said, yes, I was living at the club where I worked, you know. And I did ask, is it really you or a fake account? Because I was like, there's so many fake accounts here, I don't know if it's her. But provided that that account is really her, she did confirm that when she was working at the club she was staying there. So I guess that makes sense that when she lost the job, obviously they withdrew the offer of the accommodation. Our understanding is that right after that she went and stayed with Nelly, you know, but it looks like there is a time when she went and stayed with Ivy. So I don't know whether with her friend Ivy, who was introduced in episode 8, whether Ivy she lived with Ivy before she went and lived at the club, because we understand that after the club she went and lived with Nelly because she did not have a place to stay. So I don't know when exactly did she live with Ivy, but at some point she lived with Ivy, her friend. This is a friend that she knows from back home. Their mothers are neighbors, and but Gina does say her mother has never liked Ivy. And you know, sometimes you guys, our parents will see things in our friends that we don't see. You be us being parents now, we also see certain things about our kids friends that they don't see. Sometimes you like your child's friend, sometimes you just have a feeling about her, but since the child is younger, they're still trying to figure their lives, sometimes they don't see those things. So Gina says the same thing, with her mother has never liked Ivy for some reason, and so she has always felt also that there must be something wrong with her friend if her mom doesn't like her. So they all moved to Joburg. According to what I understand of the story, they both moved to Joburg. They lived together, which made me feel like maybe it was even before Gina got a job at the club and moved to the club. And they do the same job, they strip, okay. And then at some point Gina doesn't pay rent. There was rent due and she doesn't pay, I guess, her portion of the rent. But from what it sounds like, the place belonged to Ivy. it might mean that Ivy was the one that actually signed the lease, so the lease was in her name. So Gina just came in to live with her under the lease that is under Ivy's name, because I do not think that she owns the place. So at some point, Gina doesn't pay rent and ends up moving out of the place to go stay somewhere else, which I assume is when she moved out to the club. Gina explains it by saying she really didn't pay rent this 1 week because it really was a Mampara week, and I'm guessing if it's a Mampara week, it means it's a week that you don't make a lot of money. I don't know if they were paying rent weekly or they were paying rent monthly, but she says she didn't pay because it was a Mampara week, you know. But I also feel like, but if that was a Mampara week, have you only been having Mampara weeks ever since then? Because it sounds like she still hasn't paid the amount. Okay, so this girl gets upset to Ivy because at some point she finds Gina with her friends in another accommodation where she was hanging out with her friends. They're eating takeaways. Okay, Gina is more like, eating a takeaway doesn't mean that I have money for rent. I mean, a takeaway could be 50 rand, but the rent is not 50 rand. I understand he upsets Ivy in that, because really, honestly, if you owe me rent money and I find you eating takeaways, I will be upset too, you guys, because I feel like if you have 50 rand, give that 50 rand to me so that you can contribute towards rent, because you do have 50 rand. But Gina as well is saying, but I can't not eat just because I owe rent, you know. And she says, Ivy, and she says, because I couldn't afford to take a takeaway, I went and I bought groceries. And that very same day that I bought groceries, when I got home, electricity was cut because you had not paid rent. And I couldn't cook the food that I had bought, trying to save and buying ukudla engizokupeka. So the electricity was cut because of you. I understand you guys, Ivy's upset, but I also feel like she is kind of shady, like Gina is saying, because Gina emphasizes that she feels like she is a shady friend. And this is where I feel like Ivy is a shady friend. At some point, Ivy, obviously, Gina had already moved out now, and she couldn't get hold of Gina, I guess because she wanted her rent back. But also this is her friend that they moved from home with to Joburg, so she couldn't find her. She's asking her friends where she is. Nobody knows where Gina is. So I don't know if genuinely she was concerned about Gina, because she does say that she was concerned, she panicked because she thought Gina went missing, because she didn't know where she was. So she called her mom. She called Gina's mom. She called Gina's mom and tells her, listen, Gina is no longer living with me, but everybody that I'm asking where she is, none of her friends know where she is, so I don't know where she is. Ends up sending the photos of Gina nude to her mom to say, listen, this is what we do in Joburg. And these are the reasons why I'm concerned about her. Okay. Gina says she understands why Ivy would be concerned about her if she felt that she was missing, but she still doesn't get why it will get to a point where she sends her mom the photos and telling her what they do in Joburg. She says, you took away a chance for me to tell my mom what we actually do in Joburg. You shouldn't have done it. I was actually just trying to think as well, how did it get to a point where Ivy felt the need to tell the mom what they do in Joburg? She could have just said, listen, mom, Gina is not with me, and none of her friends know where she is, and I'm trying to get hold of her, just so you know she's not at my place anymore. And it could have ended there. I don't know why was it necessary to actually tell the mom what Gina does and even send the photos. I feel like she was upset about the rent, and she was trying to revenge, Gina. I feel like that, but she doesn't admit to that. I feel like that's the reason, because there was no reason to tell her mom that. So they're having that issues. So Ivy has withheld Gina's clothes and her ID book, because she feels like, until you pay me my money, I'm not giving you these things. If Gina says she needs her ID because of course she needs to be looking for a job. I don't know if they need an ID when you look for these jobs. And also, I'm just thinking about the show, you guys. How did she sign a contract without her ID? and she says that my life is going to be getting busy and all of that. I need my ID. And Ivy's like, if you need it that much, then go to Home Affairs. I guess she's just trying to create an inconvenience for Gina to say, if you owe me my money and you're not going to pay me my money, then you might as well go and join the queue at Home Affairs and apply for an ID again when you know that I have it with me, you guys. Anyway, that is that, you guys. I don't know, you guys. I do think that OIV as a friend is being presented as a shady friend, and she's only getting one scene on this show. Maybe she will get another, I don't know. So it's unfair really for me to conclude that she is a shady friend. But I do feel like she's got every right to be upset about Gina not paying the money for the rent. But I don't understand why she went all the way in telling her mom what Gina does, and even sending those pictures. She did not need to give her those, to give the mom the pictures, you guys. It was unnecessary. Okay, so I like the introducing of a friend, you guys. I have liked Gina ever since the beginning of the show, and I feel like she's one of the shy girls when it comes to everybody. But I'm also seeing like a really like shady side of her, in a sense that, like, girl, like, you mean really, like, ever since that week where you had a Mampara week, you really haven't had any money to pay this girl the rent money, you know? So I'm seeing that side of her too. I'm not saying that she's the worst person in the world, but everybody, you know, introducing that friend really just, it's a way of producers showing us different sides of a person. You know, this is how they relate to their friends on this side, but this is how they relate to the friends on this side too, you know? So I really am feeling like I like the introduction of a friend. I'm not gonna judge her so harshly right now, because I just feel like she only got one scene, but I do have questions about certain actions that she took. So, and also I'm feeling like, okay, Gina, are you somebody that doesn't really pay your way when it comes to rent and all that? And is that gonna mess up your relationship when it comes to Nelly as well, you guys? So, and also what happened in episode 8, it was the developing of sort of like a clique between Samke Prima Donna and Babli. You know, they seem to be getting along. But Babli, I feel like, is a kind of girl that goes with the wind, that blows with the wind. Because I feel like when she's with Samke and Samke and Prima Donna, she's very good to them. They're talking, it's all nice. And then when she's with the other girls, she looks at them, or Prima Donna, as, you know, the others, and she takes the other side. So I don't know. I'm not feeling happy about that when it comes to her. I feel like she's not really like loyal like that to be able to stand her ground. No, I got to know Prima Donna. I feel like she's a nice person. Besides everything that has happened, I like Samke, but I like the others as well. I feel like when she's with the others, I'm not sure really where she stands with her friendship with Prima Donna and Samke. And I think that's the reason why Prima Donna keeps saying that she doesn't take Ubabli seriously, because of that. When they're hanging out with everybody, she doesn't seem like she enjoys being with Samke and Prima Donna, but when it's just them, she seems like she's having fun. And they did hang out, they were having fun together, you guys. So also there was a hangout between, it was Oli, Gina, Nelly, and Uwandi as well. And it was a fun outing. It was after they had shot that video with was it Ntando? Who was the Oli's friend from Durban? And they shot that, and then they went to lunch, all of them. They're having fun, all of them. They badli nyama and stuff, and then one just starts acting funny. And she really is just starting to start drama. She is wanting to start drama for no reason, I feel like, because everybody was just having fun there at the table, which Nelly handles it quite well, because one wanted to start talking about the fact that when they at the yoga event, Nelly was talking to you some kind of a way and she didn't like it. And Nelly's like, okay, girl, just get out of feelings, okay? I didn't understand it. I feel like Uwandi is stuck. Instead of just having fun, and going with the flow on the show. She is stuck in wanting to stand out. She's stuck in wanting to be that girl that starts drama. She's wanting to be that girl that confronts everybody, and it doesn't seem natural, and we are picking up times where it feels natural, like when she's with her family. I feel like that's the real one we're meeting. And I feel like when she's interacting with only just the two of them, I feel like we do meet a real one day. But when it's everybody there, I think she's trying to give a picture of somebody that she is actually not. So it doesn't feel, scenes don't feel as natural, okay? So I guess that's overall the things that I wanted to mention when it comes to episode 8 that I think we're going to need moving forward to episode 9. Also, there is a trip that Ubabli is trying to plan for the girls to go to the Eastern Cape, but she feels like she can't invite everybody, because if she invites everybody, there's going to be a fight that will break there. And then she, before she even says that she's not going to invite prima donna just volunteers to say, you know what, I'm okay, guys, I'll stay back. If one is going, I'm not going. I thought that was matured of prima donna, but at the same time I wonder internally if she's not feeling something like, really, I have to be excluded from a trip, if it's not just a defense mechanism for her to say, let me say I don't want to go, before they actually reject me and say they don't want me to come. I'm wondering if that's not what's going on here. So in episode 9, you guys, the first scene, it is prima donna with her mom, meeting with her mom. Very young mom, you guys. Of course, when I meet her mom, I'm already thinking this is a woman that has been in that very abusive relationship, because the way that the prima donna has introduced her mom and dad, it does feel like her dad is an abusive dad, and it feels like they are still together from what I hear from the conversation. And she said she called her mom was working, and asked for an hour. And her mom also, when they meet, she does say they are at Hertepiers somewhere, and she does say, listen, I'm very busy at work, so it's very hard to get time off. And then they start talking about the fights that prima donna got into. Listen, her mom is a typical mom, and that is like, listen, I'm gonna tell you when you are wrong. You knew you were wrong. You got those girls fired. So when they got upset at you and they are fighting about it, why would you not understand why they're fighting? Because of course they are upset, and you're supposed to apologize about that. I feel like the only thing that I didn't really understand was when a mom says, if somebody is fighting you, which we took it as physical, because the fight did get physical. If someone is fighting you for something that you did and you know you were wrong, you don't retaliate, you don't fight back. I don't understand that. I feel like when somebody gets physical with you, if you can defend yourself, even if you were wrong. It should never get physical. But if it gets physical and you have a chance to defend yourself, I think you should. Nobody should just be beaten up by somebody because they were wrong, But that's what her mom believes. If you know you were wrong, why would you fight back? Because you know you were wrong, okay? And she talks about the fact that she is... prima donna says, I understand they lost their job, but obviously if they get physical, I have to defend myself. And you also know, mom, that I am very short-tempered. And another thing that I didn't understand was the fact that it's only one person that really I did something for them to lose their job. The other one, I don't know why they lost their job. So I don't know why they were coming into the fight, okay? And then she does say, you guys, that she's very short-tempered. She does mention some stuff that went on with her dad. And then she says that, but she is trying. I honestly think that my prima donna is trying, you guys. The fact that she has done, she's doing her best to avoid settings where she knows she might get triggered. She's not going to any gatherings where there is Uwandi there. And also she did give Ulona a call. Gina a call so that they could talk, because her mom was like, you know what we're gonna do right now, you're going to call her and you're going to sit down and sort this thing out, because you know that you're the one that did something wrong here. I love the conversation with her mom, you guys. And They do get to a point where it gets a little bit emotional when she starts talking about her father, because her mom started saying, your father says that you don't call him, and she says that it's not that I don't call at all, but it's not like when I call my dad we're going to have like proper conversations. And the thing about it is that I haven't forgotten about how he actually chased me out of the house. So how do I deal with that? She does say dad is really, she gets really emotional, you guys, to say, but dad is really like really difficult to deal with. He is hard to deal with. So I love my dad, I do, but he is just hard to deal with. And her mom says, you know what, I know. There was a time, you guys, between Prima Donna and her mom where I felt like I just wanted her mom to just give her a hug, But I don't know if maybe she was feeling like because they are in a setting where they are shooting, maybe she's supposed to remain in her seat. Because obviously, depending on how the cameras are set, you get told, okay, you'll sit on the side, she will sit on the side. Maybe she wasn't comfortable just standing up and giving her daughter a hug. Or they're just not a family that gives each other hugs. We know, guys, they're families where hugs are hard to give. I think even in my family, we do give each other hugs now, but growing up, it wasn't something that was common. So it was hard to learn that it's okay to give somebody a hug when they need a hug. So I don't know if it's that instance where it's that situation where the family, it doesn't really like give each other hugs like that when somebody is emotional, or it was because they were in a setting where they were shooting a show, so she wasn't sure whether it's okay for her to stand up and give her daughter a hug. But she does express that she understands that the date is difficult, and but it sounds like, you guys, that her mom is still in that relationship. I wonder how it's going now, but yeah, I think it's unfortunate that she still is, okay? And she also, while sitting with her mom, gets a call from Mdletshe. Xoli says she's going to be having a birthday celebration, and she will, but she's not inviting Prima Donna. She will have, they will have massages later on, just the two of them, because she's avoiding drama. It's unfortunate, you guys, that the person that is ending up being excluded from all events now is Prima Donna. Because they did get in a fight with Gina, because Gina was the first one that threw a drink on her. If we are being fair, Gina is the one that threw a drink on Prima Donna. Prima Donna threw a drink on Gina back. So it wasn't like she's the one that started it. And then Uwandile inserted herself in the fight that wasn't hers. But then Prima Donna is the one that's getting excluded. And I'm guessing because she got into it with Gina and Nelly, and then she got into it with Wandile. Everyone is thinking she's the one that is a problem, and the others are not. I don't know. If anybody should be excluded, actually, it's Wandile, because she's always so desperately trying to create drama. But she is closer to Xoli, so I guess it just wouldn't make sense for Xoli to not invite Wandile. And she's still getting to know Prima Donna. So I guess in that way, it makes sense. Okay, you guys, the next scene is actually the day of Xoli's birthday. There was another scene where she was actually meeting with her manager, but I didn't feel like there was anything significant that happened in that scene. They were just talking about the fact that she's going to have a birthday. She's not inviting all of the girls, but whoever she's not inviting, she'll make a plan on what she's going to do with that person, which obviously is going to be Prima Donna. And now it's the day of the birthday, so it looks like everybody is invited except for Prima Donna. And she seems to understand, you guys. She's like, listen, if people feel like I am the drama, it makes sense that they don't invite me. She doesn't seem like she is complaining about the situation, okay? So they show up. Xoli says that she said because her birthday is at the end of the month, she felt like everybody is probably low on money, so because they've just paid their rent, so she said everything is going to be on her. the food, the drinks, she's going to be the one that will pay. Listen, Uxoli knows because these girls are not really rolling in money like that. So it's like everybody else. If it's month end, you have bills to pay. So if a friend of you asks you out, they're going to make a plan. But I did wonder, you guys, if really Uxoli paid for that lunch. It looked like it was lunch because it was like daytime. If she herself paid for that, or maybe the producers paid for the whole event, I wonder, you guys. But that's what she said. She was going to pay for everything. So everybody arrives, and one day was like the last to arrive, and so everybody took a seat, and people were sitting. I think Samke and Babli were the ones sitting closer to Uxoli, the birthday girl. So when Wandi comes, she comes late. She has a problem with the fact that her seat is too far from Uxoli when she's the one that is the closest friend to her. And she decided that she's going to talk so loud that she's going to irritate the girls. By the way, you guys, the girls didn't bring any gifts. Did they? No. Oh, Nelly brought flowers, which I thought was sweet, you guys. She brought flowers. But obviously, if they didn't have money to pay for their own lunch and drinks, obviously they don't have money to buy gifts. But it would have been nice even if they brought something together, just put money together and bought her something since it was her birthday. But it didn't look like they did that. The only person that showed up with like balloons and a gift was Wandi. And she said it's an expensive gift. I didn't see what it was, but yeah, the others didn't understand why she had to say that it's an expensive gift. Anyway, when Wandi arrived, Usamke seemed to be bored about the fact that Wandi is arriving, which was a surprise to me because I didn't think that there was any issue between Usamke and Wandi. But then I remembered, Konje phela, these girls are getting to know each other on the show, but then outside of the show too, because the show they don't shoot every day. So in between shoots, they are also continuing to get to know each other. And it looks like some stuff has gone on between Usamke and Wandi that was not part of the show. We've missed some drama. Okay. So this is how Samke tells the story. She, Wandi came to visit her at her place, but she was not going to be there. She left her at her place because Wandi was going to be doing some streaming, adult streaming from Samke's place. Okay, Samke left her there, went wherever that she was going. When she came back, I guess her place was not looking as nice as she left it. Wandi had used her heater, which she hardly ever uses because she's saving on electricity. And so I guess when Usamke came back to her place, she wasn't happy with how she found her place. Her dildo had been used and was not cleaned. So she's irritated when she sees Ulona Wandi, Ooh, guys, the issues that these girls are dealing with. Anyway, you guys, she says, Andiana says, when it was cold, so that's why she used the heater. And she had told her because she was going to stream from her place, and she didn't, as their friends, she didn't feel like there was an issue there. And also, when she left, and Samke was complaining about Casey, because she had used the heater, she gave her 100. Also she drank her wine. She drank Samke's wine. So Wandi says, okay, I gave her 100 rands. Number one, the wine looked like a cheap one, which probably cost like 40 rands. So from that 100 rand, she can take 40 rand and buy the wine. And then 60 rand, it was for the 30 units. I don't know how she calculated that she used 30 units of prepaid electricity on the heater. So I gave her 100 rands because I just thought, girl, if it's such a big deal, I thought we were friends, but if it's such a big deal, here is the 100 rands for the wine and also for Ilokuzana, for the heater. Anyway, you guys, I mean, if you have a friend at your place, you guys really do expect that they're not gonna touch anything at all. Like if you leave someone at your place, they're not gonna touch it. If they need to drink something, like they will have to pay for it. If they turn on hot water, they will have to pay. Like I don't understand. I feel like Usamke was being extreme, but she sounded like she was really upset about the fact that Wandi drank her wine, and also the fact that Ubase heater, which cost a lot in terms of electricity. But I don't know if she felt like 100 rand was enough to cover the costs or not, but she was upset about it. So that's why she was irritated when she saw Wandi. So at some point, Usamke decides, you know what, let's swap sweets, because Wandi was screaming so much. Usamke decides to swap sweet with Wandi because Wandi was screaming so much because she wanted to get all of the attention because she is the bestie of the birthday girl or whatever. So they swap seats. So she ends up sitting next to Uxoli. Okay. So you guys, they just start talking about things that relate to their work, I guess. And Uxoli was asking Wanda, because apparently on Twitter she had said, was it on Twitter or Instagram Live, where she had said something that contradicts what she usually says as far as men and their size is concerned, and she corrects that. Anyway, you guys have to watch the show. For some of these things, you really have to watch the show, okay? I can't really talk in details about it. And then she says Guti, she has at some point, Wandi says Guti, she's the one that had an intimate situation with Davido, and all of the girls are thinking that she's lying. She's like, you and Davido. Wow. But guys, do you remember when there was an audio or voice notes that was going around, and a girl was talking about how she had a situation with Davido and ended up vomiting or something like that? Do you guys remember that story? She is talking as if that was her, because she's basically just telling the same story about Davido and saying that that's what happened with her. Because I can't remember that voice note, honestly, the voice, I can't tell if there really was Wandi's voice, but that's what she's saying. I don't know, you guys, maybe some of you know if it was her that was in that voice note. You remember the story, the girls went to the hotel room, they thought they were going to get a lot of money, and they didn't, and it involved Davido and his boys or whatever. Yes. So it made me think, maybe she is saying that it's her on that audio because she's telling the exact same story that it happened to her. But I don't know, you guys. Anyway, then there was a bit of drama, because what ends up happening, Pablo was sitting on the other side, closer to Uxoli, and then next to her it was Uneli, and then on the other side it was Wandi and Usamke, and then far and it was Gina. Okay, Gina looks across at Babli. Babli has a tattoo on her arm that looks unfinished, like sometimes when you do like a big tattoo, they will do it and then you will go again and whatever. I feel like it was, I thought it was that kind of a situation, because it looks incomplete. It looks like, okay, it sounds like you wanted a tattoo of a stripper, but it's not really complete. It's not looking like an artwork yet. It's like a drawing. It looks like a drawing. So I didn't think, okay, it's that big of a deal. So she looks across Gina and says, is that a stuka? Which was the first time I heard that name. Was it a stuka? They said a stuka, yeah. What is that, a stuka? Apparently a stuka is one of those home-made tattoos where people just or something, so that's what a stuka is. It was the first time I hear that term anyway. So and probably like, no, actually this is a tattoo of my grandmother. They say a tattoo is what is professionally done, and a stuka is a homemade kind of a tattoo. So when Gina says that, you guys, Nelly loses it, which didn't make sense at the time, because I'm thinking, why does Nelly come in the situation? Nelly loses it because she's like, why are you being shady saying that to Gina? Remember, Nelly and Gina are friends, they live together, okay? We don't know if they are friends just while they're doing the show, or they had been friends before then. So she's like, why are you being shady? Why are you saying that to Upabli? And Upabli was chilled about the situation, you know. And she was like, no, this is like a tattoo of my grandmother, actually. And that was it. So everybody doesn't understand why Ulona, Uneli is making a big deal out of it and screaming out her lungs to Ugina, why are you being shady? Why are you saying that this woman has a stuka just because you just recently got a tattoo? Which we didn't know about. You know, it's not even visible in Gina's body, the tattoo. And she says you just recently got a tattoo yourself, your first tattoo ever. So now you're going around pointing at people and saying that it's stuka and whatever. So now Gina is like, but why is it any of your business? Babli doesn't seem to have a problem with me asking the question. She's like, no, I'm standing up for her because she's not standing up for herself. At that point, you guys, I really just feel like there are issues that are going on with Gina and Nelly in the house because they live together. And I did have questions of, I wonder if Gina is now doing the same that maybe she did with her friend Ivy, where she's not paying rent, and now Nelly is just getting fed up, or maybe it's other issues that are going on. But I feel like for her to blow up on something that was said about Babli when she's not even Babli's best friend like that, I didn't understand it, you guys. Even Gina was like, I don't understand. Why are you so upset about it? I wasn't talking to you. However, I do feel like maybe Gina was a little bit too excited about the tattoos, and she was trying to make conversation so that they can start talking about tattoos, and then she can reveal as well that she does have a tattoo, because I think most of the girls, they do have tattoos somewhere on their bodies. And also usamke and I seem to think ukuthi the reason Babli was so not Babli, Nelly was so upset about what was said is because Naye here, she does have a tattoo that doesn't look professional, which was something I says, which now you maybe it's because Naye, she has a stuka on her body, that's why, you know. And it becomes a big thing really when it shouldn't have been, which I think Ugina is really like surprised that it's happening. But she says that later on she does say that it gave her some clarity on some things when it comes to Nelly. And I guess, you know, when you're having issues in the house and you live together and you're not resolving them in the house, you can sort of blow out when you have this sit down with other people and other people are sitting there not understanding. Even Oli was saying, I don't understand. It was the person that the thing was said about is, yes, Kona, it's not right to call someone's tattoo a stuka, but it wasn't said about Nelly. It was said about Lokuzana. Babli, and Babli seems to be chilled about it, okay. And yes, you guys, so later on I thought that some girl was trying to calm things up, but Naye, she was she was starting a little bit of drama. Anyway, you guys, there is a scene in episode 8 where Usamge and Prima Donna and Babli are sitting down and they're having just a conversation, and it ends up being like Usamge is saying to Babli looks down on people that are strippers when she's also doing sex work, okay. Babli does ama massages, but ama massages, you know, she does talk about going home with the men or taking the men home and stuff like that. So she is in the sex industry as well. She's doing adult entertainment as well. So she says she wants to do a toast to Usamge, and then she starts talking about that. Listen, you know, adult entertainment is adult entertainment. Whether you are a stripper, you are a porn star, you are an OnlyFans, what, you are what, you are under adult entertainment, all of us. Let's stop this thing of looking down at each other. Babli in the diary session clarifies, I do not look down on anybody that is in adult entertainment, but I do judge somebody that goes around and sleeps around for free, because that's what they say Usamge does. They say Usamge does that for free, you know. And Usamge, and her justification is that sometimes you can't charge everybody that you get intimate with. She even made an example in the last episode. She says, let's say we are in the house party, we're sitting there with the guy, you start vibing with the guy. I mean, you're both adults, you decide you want to do whatever you want to do. So you're gonna, while sitting there, you're going to go, okay, 5K. Like, she says in some situations she doesn't feel like she's just having fun herself, so she doesn't need to charge for, for that. So Ubabli says, I know, she doesn't move without a price being discussed because she's not giving the nkomo away, So she says, no, I'm not judging the adult entertainment, but I do judge somebody that goes around and gets with men for free. I don't get that. Anyway, you guys, that was the episode for today. The highlights for me really was a conversation between Prima Donna and her mom. There was such a valuable scene in this episode. The rest of it, you guys, was just girls, causing unnecessary drama. And then in episode 8, it really was that conversation between Gina and Ivy. I think that the girls are really giving us some good sense. I still say that everybody in this show is working hard except for Xoli. Xoli is just not doing anything, honestly, you guys. She's not. Give me one good scene that Xoli has given us on this show that we can say this show cannot go on without Xoli. And funny enough, she is like the face of the show, but she's not giving us much. We haven't seen anything when it comes to Xoli. We don't know anything more about her life that we didn't know before we started watching the show. We know exactly nothing. That she's in the adult entertainment, that's all. I need more from Xoli. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This is all that we saw in episode 8 and episode 9. I am going to do episode 10 shortly. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like it before Pumegona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ntando kakhulu.